What's going on there, guys? Good evening. It is the Earthmaster here on this Wednesday night, December 28th, 2022. It's about 8:39 p.m. California time here, where we are expecting more rainfall coming in tonight and literally over the next couple weeks. So looking forward to it. A 4.2 earthquake around the Haiti region, the latest earthquake here on the globe. Seeing a little bit of uptick kicking off here within the last couple hours around this region of the world. All right, let's go ahead and check out the latest activity. There's that 4.2 being mentioned there by the EMSC. USGS not showing that earthquake activity yet. Been kind of slow to the game here lately. Hopefully they get things caught up with their reporting. All right, let's go ahead and start over here. Well, as you can look here at the map, just go ahead and take a look at a broad view here of the flat surface model, showing quite a bit of uptick in certain regions around the map, all over areas around China, also Iran, areas around the Mediterranean seeing a pretty good uptick as well. We're going to start over here around Japan, where the latest activity looks like it was a 4.9 just into the area here around the East China Sea, a 4.9, 36 kilometers deep. We did see some prior earthquake activity up north. Pretty shallow, 10 kilometers there for a 4.4, and also some activity throughout the afternoon and morning time period in that zone of Japan as well. Down here around the Mariana Islands, this earthquake here from last night, actually 4.6. Still waiting here, potentially, for some earthquake activity ramping up, considering all the deeper movement quakes we've seen over the last week or so. Now, a quick glance here at the area around the Mariana Trench shows not a whole lot, just only that 4.6. So we'll wait and see if there's enough pressure being built up here in that region. 3.5 over here south of Taiwan, around the Philippines area. Notice that pressure here that we're looking at, that swarming there a couple days ago, last night as well. That has since died off. So no massive amount of swarming occurring around the Indonesia area currently. Most of the activity has shifted westward, well westward, here around areas of the Mediterranean, including a 3.8 coming in here near Spain. I've seen that one coming up on my phone just within the last hour or so. Not too often do we see earthquake activity out there, but we had a 3.8 this evening, 19 kilometers deep for that earthquake there in Spain. Also, a bunch of other earthquake activity listed up here on the globe. As you can see, 3s and 4s. The 4.8, now that was from last night, I believe, in the area of Greece. That one coming in, actually, it looks like it was, yeah, that's a UTC time of last night, I believe. All right, let's see what else we got here across the region. We'll get down to the Fiji area here in just a little bit. Across areas of Afghanistan, northern China, looks like Iran as well, seeing some activity. The latest earthquake, though, showed a 4.4 at a very small region called the Malta area. That's this area right here, Malta Channel, into the Mediterranean Sea region. Now, this is off of the plate boundary. This one came in earlier this evening, 10 kilometers deep. Now, a quick glance at historical earthquake activity here in this region. Let's ignore that real quick. Doesn't show a whole lot, does it? Looks like we've seen a couple 4s out here. Maybe 4.5 to 5.0 over the last 100 years or so. So, little oddball earthquake activity, but obviously there's a lot more around the plate boundaries. But these little ones kind of tell a tale, or a story, so to speak, of potential buildup here in the region. There's that earthquake here in Greece coming in early this morning, a 4.8 early this morning, about 4 o'clock or so, shaking things up out there. Let's see what else we got. Zip back over here around the Vanuatu area. Of course, we've seen that 6.0. This came in originally as a 6.5, downgraded to the 6.0 threshold there. 10 kilometers deep, pretty shallow earthquake. Now, since then, we've seen a little bit of earthquake activity ramping up around Fiji. Look at those depths there, 623, 585 kilometers deep. Now, I did mention here last night that we should be watching for that deeper earthquake activity, far as the recycle, so to speak, of the earthquake movement here in this region. With this deeper earthquake activity, we should be seeing things ramp up pretty significantly across the areas of the Western Pacific Ring of Fire, and that would include the Mariana Trench, Izu Trench, and up here potentially around the Kuril-Kamchatka Trench. Deep movement definitely does play a major part in that westward pressure gradient, but also at the same time, these are mid-4s or so. We got to watch the area up around the Tonga Trench. Now, I'm not for sure if there is enough strain or stress built up here, because we did see quite a few 6s and some 7s. It's been a couple weeks now, maybe a few weeks. Has it been? Let me look here real quick. Go back last 30 days or so. Yeah, it's been actually over 30 days, because we've seen way more than what's showing up here. A couple 6s, couple 7s, just within, or a couple upper 6s, I should say, within the last 30 days. But there was more than that. So things have definitely been active at the surface regions. That's why I say I don't know if there's enough activity, or at least enough strain built up in these regions to see some larger quakes. I think we're going to see that shift west here very soon around Solomon Islands, Papua New Guinea potentially. Out here on the Big Island, things about the same. 15 earthquakes. The latest one shows a 2.0 Pahala area offshore, 31 kilometers deep. Not a whole lot going on around the Lohi Seamount, the submarine volcano out there. Kilauea volcano looks pretty quiet. Some activity off to the west. Pretty deep, though. And we got to keep an eye on this. About 4 kilometers deep. I still think there's something brewing out there. I don't think it's just going to end its glory out there with just a subsidence of the eruption from both volcanoes. I definitely think there's a little bit more to the story. Let's check out the volcano activity out there on the Big Island of Hawaii. Let's zoom in here to, we can zoom into any volcano out there, but check out Kilauea volcano real quick. See what we got for seismic activity out here. And there's still some of that, oh goodness, I don't know why it does that, but it does. Past 12 hours or so, there's still that odd earthquake activity. And it's not earthquake activity, excuse me, I don't like to say that, because it's not. Earthquake activity is going to look like this. This is what earthquake activity looks like. But this is like magma movement or something brewing underneath the ground. And it's been off and on here, I would say, over the last, I think I first noticed it a couple days after the Kilauea volcano eruption ended, so to speak. So there's definitely some noise being made down below. And I'm not 100% certain what it all means. But either way, that activity shows up across the board there on the seismograph stations around Kilauea volcano. Up here around Mauna Loa, still waiting on some seismograph stations there to get picked up. Let me see here. Let me zoom in just a little bit closer here. Mauna Loa. This one's not, wow, looks like all of them are offline. I don't even know how we're going to keep track of anything, because nothing's online. So let me see if this one is here. Hold on. This one's online. All right. Thankfully, a little bit of earthquake activity. No unusual movement noted there. No, what would I would describe as like harmonic tremor, or what we've seen there around Kilauea volcano. This one looks a little quiet. We're going to check out the tilt meter here real quick and make sure. We haven't really checked that in a couple days. So the past week of tilt, it's been uplifting here, so to speak, since the eruption stopped there at Mauna Loa back on the 9th or 10th of this month, around that time frame, and slowly seeing a gradual uplift there in the tilt. Not a huge amount, but obviously showing some signs there of the continual inflation. Camera out there, and you can't really see too much. Not the best view. in the in that area. Another earthquake coming in here to Hawaii, 2.3. Now, some of that activity will definitely be showing up around the Hot Caves area. Well, I think some of that larger activity will be. Hot Caves, Hawaii station is centered right around the Pahala area, so this may be a little bit distant and a little bit too small for that seismograph station to pick up. All right, up to north to Alaska. Not seeing too much activity ramping up here. Mostly generally light microquake activity across the area of Anchorage and up through Denali. No major movement to report up there today. Through the Pacific Northwest, about the same. Oregon not showing anything. Got one earthquake here outside of the Goose Lake area, southwest of Lakeview, 1.4. Over here around Northern California, they're only reporting 3 earthquakes. Now, I'm pretty certain there's a little bit more. They have turned off, or at least lost the data here for the Petrolia station there in Northern California. I still monitor the Dinsmore station, which is kind of a backup station in Northern Cal for earthquake activity there. And it looks pretty calm, but they are showing looks like a 3.4 that came in earlier this afternoon, and a couple other 2s in there as well. Now, this is somewhat deep, about 20 kilometers deep, into the area of the subduction zone of the Cascadia megathrust area. Now, I know there's some surface fractures here, but this is well below the surface fractures. This is not on the Table Mountain Fault or Little Salmon Creek Fault, Salmon Fault Zone, I should say. These are well below that area into the subduction interface of the Cascadia. And let's check out the tremor map tonight and see what we have for Cascadia. Only 6 up here around the Vancouver Island ranges. That's about all. Not a whole lot showing up there tonight in that area. All right, Bay Area. A little bit of activity outside of the Pittsburgh region. That one coming in just earlier this afternoon, 2.2. Looking at the rest of the state of California, some usual activity along the creeping segment of the San Andreas Fault. And Southern Cal, man, it is a quiet spot right now. Nothing really popping off. A couple small microquakes, but that's about it. 2.5 map shows nada. All microquakes and very minimal at that. Texas area, Oklahoma, a couple earthquakes earlier this morning and afternoon. Nothing major, though, to report across the states currently. Down into the South America region, a couple 5s, or actually a couple 4s and a 5.3. Peru area, the latest quake there on the map. Now, a glance here at the EMSC model pretty much confirms the, well, there's not a whole lot of movement going on there. There is some smaller quakes in the smaller rings, but definitely not a whole lot. Now, a 4.1 off the coast of Mexico, it looks like. Well, see if that could be off the coast of Mexico. And some other smaller quakes downstream. Not showing up again here across the area. Maybe it looks like maybe off the coast of Guatemala as well. And some other small quakes mentioned on the globe. Not showing up by the USGS, but they are there. That would definitely explain a lot of the activity we're seeing recently around the Caribbean plate. They're missing a couple 4s. Missing that 4 there in Hawaii, right? If we take a glance here at the general activity, missing a 4.2. There's that 4.1 off the coast of Mexico. And if they don't want to report the smaller ones, that's fine. But, man, kind of slacking there. I don't know. For some reason, they leave out the earthquakes here around the Middle America Trench. And I'm talking about the USGS here. All right. Let's see. What else do we have down here? We checked this out. New Zealand. Now, there's not a whole lot showing up here on the USGS map. Quick glance here at the EMSC model. I don't really see any newer quakes, but we're going to check the GeoNet servers out here real quick just for reassurance to make sure that we're getting the latest update put out. Looks like, well, that earthquake from this morning, that 3.9 coming in, North Island, New Zealand, 10 hours ago. Now the all magnitudes map here shows some light microquake activity. There's a 2.8 North Island, definitely north of there, 201 kilometers deep. But no major movement popping off here There was a 4.7 5 hours ago. Definitely looks like it's along the Kermadec Trench. I wonder if that's going to be this one. No, I don't think so. It's got to be somewhere up here. USGS not reporting that quake. So a little bit of activity kicking up here. That's kind of why I include all the, at least more than the USGS data agencies out here. Because if you were to just look at the USGS map, you would assume there's a lot of quiet zones out here, but they're not always quiet. Let me check out the volcano drums here. Seismograph stations, just to get a general indication of what's going on here across the area. I'm trying to figure out exactly where that earthquake's coming from. That kind of looks like it's a 4.7. That showed up pretty broadly, fairly broadly across the area. Hard to say exactly where it's at. Doesn't look like it's localized to the Taupo supervolcano, but as far as the earthquakes go, 4.7, that was coming in, let's see here, well north, again, well north along the Kermadec Trench. Alrighty, let's see, Yellowstone, anything going on out here in Yellowstone? It's been the quiet spot. I'm ready for some good swarming going on here, but doesn't look like it wants to partake in a swarm. A little bit of small microquake activity here over the last 24 hours, but that is about it. Not a whole lot going on there in Yellowstone National Park, Wyoming. All right, flaring activity. Well, I could put in lack of prior to that statement. Now there is a pretty large sunspot, 3176 here, making its presence known across the northeastern section here of the sun. That is rotating firmly into view of the Earth, and it's still pretty complex there. It's got a couple different magnetic structures that could harbor some potential in the coming hours and days. We'll definitely watch that. Our larger sunspot region here is saying goodbye. And there's a newly named well, I don't know if it's newly named, but there's a new region down here we got to watch pretty closely as well. They have that circled. That's going to be probably 3177. Welcome aboard. But we'll keep an eye on 3176 here for the potential of some flaring here in the coming days. Right now, it shows a 99% chance for a C flare, 35% chance for an M flare, 10% for an X flare. No major coronal holes facing us. I don't think that large region up north is going to affect us at all on that portion of the sun. A little bit of unsettled conditions here over the next couple nights, but that is about it. We are not expecting any major solar weather activity. The weather department, I kind of like to jump in here and show a regional view here. Check out the West Coast. It's supposed to start raining here tonight again. We're actually underneath a flood watch. Expecting some, the ground's actually pretty saturated out there, so we've got some more rain coming in here to the West Coast. I'm going to bring up this area, of course, California right here. Here's some low pressure activity, bringing in some rainfall. Now, here's tonight's storm. Got some decent, well, not some heavy rain, but at least a steady amount of rain and snow coming in. Looks like potentially on a Friday we got some heavier precipitation coming into the area. And check that out. It just kind of keeps hitting the West Coast left and right with all these storm systems. That's a massive low pressure system here, and I love that flow. And I'm talking about the flow from the southwest up towards the northeast. This brings in a lot of valley rain. We don't get that rain shadow that occurs when we get that zonal moisture flow from the west to the east. The mountains to the west tend to soak up the rain and kind of skips a valley a little bit, and then it forms again over the Sierras. But with that, with this general counterclockwise rotation, bringing up that moisture flow, that's pretty awesome there for the valley. And that's a big one. That's a pretty significant low pressure system. I just wish it was a little bit further south. I think we'd see a little bit more moisture. But either way, California going to get a pretty good shot of rain there and some snow. And this continues. This pattern continues well into the middle of January. So we need it. Boy, do we need it. And I'm happy. Makes me very happy. So that's a lot of barbecues coming up. If you guys know me, I like to barbecue when it rains. So it looks like I'm barbecuing. Well, I'm not barbecuing tonight. I had Chinese food tonight, so maybe I'll barbecue tomorrow. And then the next day, and then maybe the next day, and it looks like maybe the next day after that. So either way, have a good night, folks. Stay safe out there. We will chat at you guys very soon. And what do we got coming in there on the seismographs? Hot Caves, Hawaii, showing a little bit of activity there on the map. But aside from that, folks, just enjoy the day, enjoy the evening. Whole lot of crazy stuff going on out there in the world. I don't even know if I want to turn on the news anymore. Pretty crazy. But we will be back here tomorrow to report on activity. And again, have a good night. We got New Year's coming up very soon, 2023. Can't believe it. Can't believe I made it to 2023. That's pretty awesome. Have a good one, folks. We'll catch you guys tomorrow sometime. Peace out.